All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to explore a story that, well, it pretty much flips everything we think we know about Mars on its head. So forget the red rocks and rovers for a minute because we are about to dig into the secret history of the red planet. You know, it's the biggest question out there, isn't it? Are we really all alone in this massive universe? For pretty much forever, this one mystery has been the fuel for our biggest scientific projects and, let's be honest, our wildest dreams. So, while most of science is busy pointing these incredible telescopes out into deep space, hoping to catch a signal or a sign of life, the material we're looking at today suggests a totally different path. It claims the answers we're looking for aren't way out there in the future, but hidden in a dramatic, long-forgotten past. Okay, so here's where the story takes a really fascinating turn. The source we're digging into is based on a set of spiritual teachings, and they're known as Bapuji. From this perspective, finding extraterrestrial life isn't about finding tiny microbes or hearing faint radio signals. No, it's about a grand, lost civilization that was way, way closer to home. And that right there brings us to the very heart of this story, Mars. According to this narrative, the red planet wasn't always the cold, rusty, empty world we see today. It was once alive, a vibrant planet just teeming with life. And this account gets super specific about the timing. We're talking about 8,000 years ago. It describes this thriving world on Mars, a civilization that was apparently just like a golden age here on Earth. And the Martians themselves? Well, they were said to be pretty extraordinary. They're described as having light bodies, meaning they were made of less dense stuff, less earth and water than we are. This apparently gave them really powerful souls, access to some seriously high technology, and, get this, even the ability to fly. So, okay, you've got this amazing, advanced civilization, these powerful beings, and a planet that's full of life. It just begs the question, right? Where did it all go? Well, as you can probably guess, this is where the story takes a very dark and dramatic turn. The source describes what it calls a great cataclysm. The Martians thought a threat was coming from another world, so they got ready for war. As things got worse, some of them actually took shelter deep underground, but it wasn't enough. A massive, devastating nuclear war broke out, and it wiped out everything. All life on the surface was just gone. But believe it or not, the story doesn't actually end there with all that destruction. For the handful of survivors, the end of their world was really just the start of a new, and maybe even more tragic journey. So the story goes that some of the survivors actually managed to escape to other planets, including ours. But coming to Earth had a huge cost. The planet's dense environment literally made their bodies heavy. They lost their special abilities. And maybe the most tragic part of all, they completely forgot who they were and where they came from. Now, I know this all might sound like a really compelling ancient myth, but the people who believe this history point to a modern-day story as possible proof. The really strange case of a young Russian man named Boriska. From the time he was just a little kid, Boriska made this absolutely incredible claim. He said he remembered a past life, a life he actually lived on Mars before the Great War, and the details he remembered were shockingly specific. He talked about Martians living underground, which sounds a lot like the story of the survivors, right? He claimed they breathed carbon dioxide, and that he himself was one of the souls who escaped the disaster and was eventually reborn here on Earth. The amount of detail he knew at such a young age apparently just stunned the researchers who met him. He even gave a specific height for these ancient Martians, almost 7 feet tall. It's these little, specific, unusual details that made his story so gripping for anyone who heard it. But Boriska's story didn't just end with his memories of Mars. Oh no! He also claimed there was a direct and pretty unbelievable connection between his lost home world and one of the biggest mysteries we have right here on Earth. Boriska claimed that the secrets of his past life on Mars are tied directly to the secrets of the Great Pyramids in Egypt. He suggested this deep, forgotten link exists between the two civilizations, almost hinting that the key to unlocking one is hidden inside the other. And all of this really just leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question. This whole narrative is asking us to think about a truly radical idea. What if the biggest secrets on our planet aren't from our planet at all? What if they're just echoes of a lost civilization from Mars?